Yo, this is Court Bauer from MLW. Shout out to True Hill Heat. Give them a listen.
All right.
Oye, te habla tío Sabio Vega. This is Sabio Vega and you watching True Hill Hit a mi manera o pa' la calle.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with True Hill Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for Collision Discourse, episode 31, reviewing the May 18th, 2024 edition of AEW Collision and Rampage, baby, as only we can. And this time, I'm on a solo mission. Yes, it is on me to review the SP3 day of the edition of AEW Collision and Rampage. Yes, it went down on my birthday, May 18th, 2024. They had 3 hours of action from AEW, and I am here to break it all down as only we can here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. So we appreciate y'all if you are joining us live. We appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show that appreciation back the simplest way possible. You can drop the thumbs up on this video if you're watching us on YouTube right now. If you're watching us on Facebook, you could drop a thumbs up, a heart emoji, a laugh emoji, an angry emoji. However, AEW Collision and Rampage made you feel this week. Let us know with those emotes if you're watching us on Facebook. If you're watching us on Twitter, you could drop a heart emoji. You can drop a heart on the post. You can retweet it. Most of all, that definitely helps out the channel so much. And remember to share it with your friends. We love the support, as always, here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. But most of all, we want you to all sound off in the live chat. I am not here this week with the good brother, sober guy JJ. I forgot his name because he hasn't done an episode of Collision Discourse with me in quite some time, but he is not with me this week. He is celebrating the birthday of his beautiful baby girl Anaya. Thank you so much to the good brother, and happy birthday to my fellow Taurus, our fellow Taurus, because sober guy JJ just celebrated a birthday as well. So yes, this is another birthday stream because my birthday is all week long. It was all weekend long. I celebrated with the fam. I celebrated with y'all on True Hill Heat 277 on Saturday. And now I'm here to recap what went down on my birthday night with AEW Collision and Rampage. So I want to hear from you guys. What did you think about this past Saturday's shows? Let me know in the live chat. I'll highlight as many of your comments as possible. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, the best way you can do that is with a super chat donation. Those super chat donations go a long way, guys. You guys have made it possible for these to be my main job. So I appreciate any and all support from the members who you can hit the join button and become a member for just $1 a month. From the Patreon backers, patreon.com/True Hill Heat, $3 a month gets you exclusive content, and that's the best way to support us when we are not live here. But those super chat donations go a long way to support us and put some diapers on, or not. My kids ain't wearing diapers anymore. Some underwear on my kids' big asses. So I appreciate any and all support, and I appreciate y'all for sounding off in the live chat, like the good brother Eric Isaac here, who says, "What's up, fellas? At least it wasn't the Canadian nor the American flag that Tony was covered up the other night." Hey, you know, I have to hand it to our good brother Romeo. Romeo does our thumbnails here on the channel for those who aren't aware, and he chose the best picture possible for the thumbnail for this week's Collision Discourse. If you watch the show, you know what it is. If you watch it right now, you can see it in the background right now, but we're gonna get to that for sure. But AEW Collision was from May 18th, 2024. It was a pre-recorded edition of AEW Collision this week from Portland, Oregon, and it was filmed on Thursday night. We got the Sir Elton John intro to kick things off for this week's episode. Live to tape, Tony Schiavone and Nigel McGuinness is on the call for this week's show, and we kick off hot with the entrance of Will Ospreay. Huge ovation for the aerial assassin as he goes one-on-one with the leader of the Shane Taylor Promotions, Shane Taylor, along with Anthony Ogogo in his corner. This is a follow-up from last week's Collision where Ospreay defeated Lee Moriarty in singles competition. After a distraction by Roderick Strong and Undisputed Kingdom, it was Shane Taylor who got in the ring, laid him out with a big hard punch, and what we got here was a different type of Will Ospreay matchup. You know, in the past, we've seen Ospreay versus someone as athletic as him, like a Konosuke Takeshita, a Kyle Fletcher. We've seen him against more of the technical wrestlers, whether it was his back and forth with Kyle O'Reilly in the Casino Gauntlet a couple of weeks back, or last week's matchup with Lee Moriarty. This week's match, he is facing a big man, and boy, oh boy, did Shane Taylor take this opportunity to really show out, in my opinion. Shane Taylor has been kind of one of the more underrated acts in AEW this year, and he's been getting a lot of big opportunities. This year alone, he's faced the likes of Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, and Will Ospreay in big-time matchups on Collision, and he's been a mainstay of this show for 2024 so far. Roderick Strong came out after the opening bell, second week in a row. He sat in on commentary. Ospreay wasn't deterred as he jumped Taylor right at the bell with a drop kick, hit a big plancha to the floor. Ospreay hit a springboard forearm for a quick near fall. Strong laughed at the idea of Ospreay not being intimidated by him as Taylor dropped Ospreay in the ring with some Vader-style barrage of forearms and clubbering blows. Taylor drilled Ospreay with a punch as Taven menaced Ospreay looked over Ospreay at ringside. Chaos broke out at the ringside area as Ospreay sent Shane Taylor into Matt Taven near the announce desk. He then took a glass of water and threw it in Strong's face. Strong's signature glasses were all discombobulated after the exchange with Ospreay. After the commercial break, we get Ospreay and Taylor trading some big strikes. Ospreay hits a big handspring kick to a big reaction from the crowd. He then hits a big forearm to the back of the head for a near fall. Ospreay teased the hidden blade, but Taylor was able to catch him with a big knee and then followed up with a Uranagi and a big running splash for a 2 count. Ospreay tried to counter a powerbomb with a Hurricane Rana, but Taylor muscled him up, hits a big powerbomb. He then lifts him up onto his feet. He misses one lariat and then hits him with a huge left-hand lariat for a near fall. Ospreay came back, catching Taylor out of nowhere with a Spanish fly. Before the Kingdom got in the way to stop Ospreay from hitting the Os Cutter, which led to Taylor hitting the Rikichi driver for another near fall. We get Ospreay he's put up by Shane Taylor for the Marcus Garvey driver. He's trying to put him away, but Ospreay was able to trap him in the corner. He hits repeated cheeky Nando's kicks, and then Ospreay, with his greatest display of power to date, lifting up the 300+ pound Shane Taylor into the Stormbreaker position, and he hits it 1, 2, 3 to pick up the victory here. Nigel McGuinness on commentary botched it by calling it the Storm Driver. It was the Stormbreaker, showing the power of Will Ospreay, lifting up the 300-pounder to get the win here. Ospreay is undefeated in singles competition in All Elite Wrestling, 9-0 this year alone. After the matchup, the Kingdom jumped Ospreay in the ring, but Ospreay was able to get the better of them, dumping them on the floor. He hits a big boot to Roderick Strong on the apron, and then hits a running flip dive onto Taven and Bennett before escaping up the ramp and showing off, making the belt signal that he is coming for the AEW International Championship. I say ever since Dynamite last week with the great back and forth promo that they had backstage on Dynamite to build their Double or Nothing title match, I really feel more interest, more intrigue into the Ospreay Strong match coming up next Sunday, this coming Sunday at AEW Double or Nothing. We get a recap of the Team Elite versus the Team Elite versus Team AEW brawl that ended Dynamite this week. FTR notes that backstage that the Elite has put a bounty on their heads, one that was accepted by Lance Archer and the Righteous. Bryan Danielson said that if the Elite wanted to take them out, they should have done it themselves. They didn't mind the fight tonight because as AEW stalwarts, they had no issue fighting on every show, while the Elite don't seem to show up on Saturdays. I like that they are kind of establishing the lines of, Team AEW is here, whether it's Collision, whether it's Dynamite, they are here to fight. They're here to fight for AEW. They're here to fight for the fans, while the Elite pick and choose their spots and are willing to put a bounty on their head to make sure they don't make it to Anarchy in the Arena coming up at Double or Nothing. The good brother G Loke is in the chat saying what it do. Thank you as always for joining us, G Loke. And as he always says, smash up the like, smash up the like. We got Frantic World also in the chat who says, what's up SP3 in chat? AEW Collision and Rampage was really good. We got Ace who says, what's up, SP3? AEW Collision and Rampage was very good shows. He also says, Will Ospreay isn't falling for Roddy's mind games. Roddy's been trying to make the mind games, trying to force Ospreay to use the Storm Driver, but this is now back-to-back weeks. Will Ospreay is showing he has another death nail. He has another big move that he can finish Roddy off with coming up on Sunday at Double or Nothing with the Stormbreaker, but that was probably the most impressive Stormbreaker, even dating back to his time in New Japan Pro Wrestling. There was no one as big as Shane Taylor that he got up for the Stormbreaker. So this was probably the most impressive Stormbreaker to date. We also got the good brother, Power Driver Finisher in the chat who says, sup heaters. Thank you for joining us today. Power Driver Finisher, he joined us yesterday for our X-Men 97 review, which you could check out on True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment right now. But getting back to Collision, we go backstage to the other members of the Blackpool Combat Club, Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. Moxley talks about his upcoming Double or Nothing IWGP World Heavyweight Championship Eliminator matchup against Konosuke Takeshita, noting that Takeshita came after him to earn a shot at the IWGP Gold. The Gallus family was around for superficial reasons, while the BCC were around because this was their nature. And then Claudio Castagnoli pulled up and had arguably one of his best promos to date. Like, even you could see the love and adoration from Moxley. I want my missus to look at me like Jon Moxley is looking at Claudio Castagnoli. He's like amazed by Claudio's promo ability, by his passion, by him just clowning everybody else in the locker room. Claudio says that he is the voice of reason in the BCC, and he hated talking to the camera. He said there's so many guys backstage that are fake, that look into the mirror and practice their lines, wanting to make sure that they are really good, want to make sure that they tell you they're the best when they're not willing to prove it. He says all sorts of fake people spent their time talking about how good they are, and instead of living it like the BCC does. Moxley warned Takeshita that he was going to finish the game that Takeshita started. Claudio wasn't even building up a matchup that he's going to be in. And I'd say he cut the better promo than Moxley. And Moxley is probably the best in All Elite Wrestling at the backstage, look into the camera promo. Jimmy McElram says it all the time on AE Ramble. Like, the best 2-minute promo in the game is Jon Moxley. And in a 3-minute promo with Claudio by his side, Claudio knocked it out the park even better than Moxley, in my opinion. I don't know about y'all. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the live chat who you thought was the better promo between the two, between Claudio and Moxley here. Speaking of a duo cutting some promos, first we get an on-screen announcement of the Path to All In Summer Series, which will see Collision taking place in Arlington, Texas for 5 weeks straight, leading up to All In at Wembley Stadium. And then we get a recap of the fight with Chris Jericho, Big Bill, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata from Dynamite. We also get some words from Jericho and Bill backstage after Dynamite. Jericho knew Hook was learning after getting bopped in the head with the microphone, but he had more to learn before he won the FTW championship. The learning tree was here to make Hook better, and Jericho said that he would get stitches to help that cause. He wishes Hook well in the FTW Contender Series, while Big Bill says, yeah, he's learning. The FTW Contender Series started off with Hook going one-on-one with Johnny TV. I thought Johnny TV looked good here. He got a couple of offenses. Taya tried to distract Hook at a certain point, allowing Johnny to hit a big springboard kick. Johnny went for Starship Pain, but Hook was able to move out the way, and he immediately snatched up Johnny, locking on the Red Rum to pick up the victory here as he moves on, as everyone who qualified, who won their matchups in this FTW series, would move on to Dynamite for a 3-way eliminator matchup to determine who will face Chris Jericho coming up at Double or Nothing for the FTW Championship. As Hook left after his victory over Johnny TV, out came Katsuyori Shibata as he was going to go one-on-one with Rocky Romero. Rocky Romero is someone that I've been very complimentary of over the last couple of weeks, because I really feel he maximizes his minutes. A lot in the eyes of what I was saying with Shane Taylor. Shane Taylor is a guy who's maximized all his minutes in 2024, especially in the big matches he's gotten on Collision. But Rocky Romero, whether it be on Dynamite against Jay White or here against Katsuyori Shibata, he is bringing it in a big way. He's maximizing his minutes. 10-minute matchup that had a lot of good tactical wrestling involved here. You get Rocky with a big tornado DDT out of the corner. Shibata fought back through a series of Romero kicks to hammer Romero with a big forearm. Romero sent Shibata to the apron before snapping his arm over the ropes. Romero hit a big springboard drop kick to a tied up Shibata in the ropes for a near fall, but Shibata would fight back. Romero caught Shibata with a series of flash pins before Shibata caught him with a Ushigoroshi. He hit the penalty kick, but he didn't finish him there. He actually locks on a figure 4 deathlock and picks up the submission victory. It's very rare that I see anyone tap out of the figure 4 like that, but we saw it here. Was it a figure 8? A figure 4 getting the win for Katsuyori Shibata, and it's so great to see Shibata be able to wrestle again. Like, I'm going to keep repeating it. We should all feel honored that we are getting to see Katsuyori Shibata, because he's a guy that's career looked like it ended 7 years ago. So as Shibata wins, he is now in the 3-way eliminator matchup on Dynamite against Hook. We got one more spot to fill. So as Shibata went up the ramp, out came Brian Keefe as he went one-on-one with Beefcake Boulder of Iron Savages. Iron Savages cutting a promo to the ring as Jack Jameson shaved his head while also turning heel. He trashes on Portland on the way to the ring. Boulder jumped Keith right at the bell, hitting a big power slam for a near fall. Jameson tried to distract BK so that Bronson could send Keith into the Titty City, but Keith was able to reverse out of that. He hits a big diamond dust out of the corner to pick up the victory here. This was less than 2 minutes. Probably the most impressive win of Brian Keefe's time in All Elite Wrestling so far. And that is the field that you see on screen here coming up on Wednesday on Dynamite to determine who gets the shot at Chris Jericho for the FTW Championship on Sunday at Double or Nothing. It's going to be Hook, Katsuyori Shibata, and Brian Keefe. I mean, I think Hook's going to win. I mean, Shibata could win, but I think it seems like a foregone conclusion that Hook is going to win. Now, my question here is, should this be the match at the pay-per-view? Or should it be Kashishori Shibata and Hook versus Big Bill and Chris Jericho? You guys let me know in the live chat or in the comments what you think. Who do you think is going to win? And do you think that Hook versus Jericho should be the match at Double or Nothing? Or should they have done a tag team matchup instead? We got in the chat, Power Driver Finisher saying that he thinks Claudio had the better promo between him and Moxley. We also got Power Driver Finisher says Ospreay hits it on Roddy. Roddy comes back strong, neck strong. Very nice, very nicely done there. Ace says this match ruled. I think he's talking about Shibata and Rocky Romero. I really enjoyed that one for sure. And Frantic Rail says Shibata has been been used very well in AEW. I agree. And yeah, I'm with you, Ace. I think that it should be the tag team matchup. I think I'm more interested in Hook and Shibata versus Big Bill and Chris Jericho more than I am in the singles feud of Chris Jericho and Hook. Chris Jericho and Hook had the worst match at AEW Dynasty, and it wasn't even that bad of a match, but that's the quality of what we saw at the last pay-per-view. So putting them on the next pay-per-view, I feel like it's a short-sighted move when the tag team match had more intrigue to it, in my opinion. And Power Driver Finisher seems like he agrees as well. And Frantic Girl says, I would like to see Brian Keith go after the FTW championship. I mean, I want to see Brian Keith go after championship gold. Honestly, I'd rather see him be more of a face of Ring of Honor than small change titles like the FTW championship. Just my opinion, but we'll see. Backstage, Lexi Nair gets some time with Pac, who is still in some type of lair and still dry. He asks him about Bullet Club's gold message to him last week. Pac said he would be amused by the Bang Bang Gang, but he hasn't felt anything in weeks. He dared Bullet Club Gold to try harder to make him care. We come back from commercial break and we get a recap of the contract signing between Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Moné, setting up their TBS championship match at Double or Nothing. And then we see the entrance of the Bang Bang Gang, the Bullet Club Gold, but the body of Pac is right at their feet. White gets on the mic. He has his bat in hand, and he cradles Pac's poor soul, poor head, after being beaten down by Bullet Club Gold, and tells him he bets Pac cares now, as the Trios champions have laid them out. I hope this is setting up Bullet Club Gold versus Death Triangle for Double or Nothing. I know that Fightful Select had reported earlier in the week that there's going to be at least 3 more matches named for Double or Nothing. So we got the FTW championship matchup. We got another match that was made official on this show. I think that the third should be the Trios championship matchup. And make sure it's on the main card, not the Bullet Club Gold versus Death Triangle should be on the main fucking card. Put Hook and Jericho on the pre-show, please. Backstage, we hear from the number 1 contender for the AEW World Title of Swerve Strickland coming up at Double or Nothing, Christian Cage, and he is along with Killswitch, Mother Wayne, and Nick Wayne of the Patriarchy. Cage noted that Nick Wayne had a match coming up on Dynamite against the AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland ahead of Cage's matchup at Double or Nothing. Cage said that he had all the faith in the world in Wayne. Wayne said that when Strickland jumped him at his home a year ago, Wayne was just a boy. But since siding with Christian, he's become a man. And he promised Cage that he would beat Strickland on his own. Very interesting, and we would see kind of probably the most dominant performance of Nick Wayne's career later on in the show, but I like this promo, and I like the setup for Nick Wayne and Swerve Strickland. These guys have tore it up in the Pacific Northwest in Defy for the Defy World Championship on several occasions. They had a good match in AEW not last year, but I think that now that the kind of the alignment has changed with Nick Wayne in the Sun role for Christian in the heel role, while Swerve is the babyface, I think they can have an even better match coming up on Wednesday. Frantic World saying, let's hope Ray is better for Double or Nothing. I forgot that Ray just came back and then apparently seemingly may have been hurt again. I don't know. He just came back just a couple of weeks ago, though. So hopefully he's all right. We get next some singles action. Orange Cassidy going one-on-one with Isaiah Cassidy, the Battle of the Cassidys. This is a good competitive matchup here. We got fast-paced action between both guys. Isaiah Cassidy has been really showing out, really showing some more potential for him in the future in these singles encounters that he's been having. We get him with a big stunner over the ropes by Cassidy onto Cassidy. The two fought on the apron before dropping each other with some pump kicks. Cassidy distracted himself with Beretta, allowing Isaiah to hit poetry in motion off of a barricade. After some commotion with the referee inadvertently helped Isaiah hit the silly string on Cassidy into the tornado DDT. Isaiah hit a swanton bomb for a near fall. Isaiah attempted to pick up Cassidy's kind of like down body, but Cassidy was able to recover, hits the beach break to pick up the victory here. On the outside, at ringside, Trent Beretta was in the front row for the distraction of Orange Cassidy during his matchup. And then post-match, Lexi Nair comes out to interview Beretta. Beretta said that he was clearly a better wrestler than Orange, and Orange only beat him because he used the exposed turnbuckle. He challenged Cassidy to a straight-up singles match at Double or Nothing before Cassidy rushed Trent, his former friend, threw him over the barricade, and attacked him before security separated the two. It was made official later on in the show that it will be Orange Cassidy going one-on-one with Trent Beretta. Straight-up singles match, which might be a good move because there are going to be a barbed wire steel cage match with Adam Copeland and Malachi Black on the card, as well as Anarchy in the Arena. If they made this a no DQ in some form, it would probably be overshadowed by those two matches. And also there's going to be a FTW championship matchup as well. So yeah, it's a mess. Serena Deeb going one-on-one with Anna Jay was next. Jay has been improving in ring, and I think she showed that a little bit more here. She's showing a lot more confidence. Meanwhile, Serena Deeb is probably one of the best technicians on the women's roster. However, she really feels like a cold challenger coming up for Timeless Toni Storm, coming up at Double or Nothing next Sunday. Jay hit a nice little dangerous J kick at one point, but Deeb was able to follow up into the ropes, hits a big chop block to the leg, which would become her focus on the matchup. Jay tried to snatch her up with the Queen Slayer choke, but Deeb was able to fight out of it. Jay was able to get her up for the gory bomb, but her knee gave way, allowing Deeb to hit the what is it called? The Deep Driver or Styles Clash type move that she hits. But then she gets in her single leg crab to get the tap out victory here. Serena Deeb picks up another victory, still undefeated since her return to AEW at the end of 2023. But then the highlight of this whole entire segment happened as Deeb had on the submission to get the victory. Luther comes out and steals Deeb's Deeb Dojo flag that she had planted at ringside. Luther brought it up the stage where Mariah May came out and held up the other end of the Deeb Dojo flag. And then Timeless Toni Storm comes out and proceeds to do a striptease, undressing, taking off all of her clothes behind the Deeb's Dojo flag, and then wrapping herself in the flag as Serena Deeb watched on. So, Toni tried to prance around wrapped up in the flag as Deeb ran after her, Mariah May, and Luther. Some mind games from Timeless Toni Storm ahead of her title match against Serena Deeb next Sunday at Double or Nothing. Hey, it was entertaining, and that's more than I can say for a lot of the segments to build up this matchup. I'm hoping that when the bell rings on Sunday, we forget how cold the buildup for this matchup has been. Next up, the aforementioned, we first get a video package for the AEW World Title matchup coming up at Double or Nothing with Swerve and Christian. And then we get Nick Wayne in action and in dominant form. Wayne rushed Jack Cartwheel, his opponent, at the bell. Cartwheel was able to invade him and sent him to the floor with some cartwheels in an awesome spot. He does a space flying tiger drop, and Wayne moves out the way, sending Cartwheel crashing into the floor. This shit sounded horrible. Wayne quickly capitalizes, hits a crazy looking Wayne's World, and then follows up with the house call, sending a message to the AEW World Champion as he does Swerve's pose on the ropes to hammer it home after picking up the victory here. Nick Wayne playing some mind games with his former rival in Defy and the man that will face his father, Christian Cage, coming up at Double or Nothing. I like Nick Wayne. He's showing a little bit more confidence, a little bit more cockiness, and I'm digging it right now. But yeah, Nick Wayne versus Swerve Strickland should be a good one coming up on Wednesday. I like that they built it up throughout this show with the promo earlier and the matchup later. Frantic World saying good women's matchup between Serena Deeb and Anna Jay. And Toni Storm was so funny. The look on Mariah May's face made this moment perfect. Mariah May is the queen of facial expressions when it comes to reacting to the Toni Storm character, for sure. But then we had the main event of Collision Trios action. It was the members of Team AEW, Bryan Danielson, Cash Wheeler, Dax Hardwood, FTR, teaming up to face the hired guns of the Elite, Lance Archer and the Righteous, Dutch and Vincent. I thought this was a really good matchup to close things out. We got some brawling at ringside, some frenetic pace early on before the heels took advantage of things, isolating one of the members of Team AEW long enough for the others to kind of rally behind. Hardwood took the heat in this one, getting battered until he ducked a splash in the corner, fought his way out to get the tag to Bryan Danielson. Danielson started running wild on Dutch, hitting a tope suicida on him before landing some shotgun drop kicks along with Wheeler, the running drop kicks in the corner on the Righteous. Danielson was able to get Dutch down into the label lock before Archer ran in to cut things off. He started running wild, laying out both members of FTR by him damn self. The Righteous hit Autumn Sunshine on Danielson for a close near fall before Wheeler was able to break it up. Wheeler sent Archer into the steel steps on the floor before he and Danielson hit a powerplex. Danielson doing the superplex portion of the powerplex on Vincent for a near fall there. Then we get a big move train. Everybody's hitting big move, and I love the finish that saw FTR. Basically, you get Wheeler does a backflip out of a back suplex from Vincent, and then Dax comes in, back suplexes and flips Wheeler over into position to hit the Shatter Machine to pick up the victory for Team AEW. But post-match, the Righteous and Archer get their heat back, laying out FTR and Danielson, who was selling his back. He had the taped up back from his injuries suffered against Will Ospreay at AEW Dynasty, and he was feeling the effects of that after the matchup. Chairs came out as they were looking to really take out Team AEW for the Elite. They noted that Eddie Kingston, Darby Allin were not here that night. We get Archer hitting a big blackout on a steel chair onto Wheeler. Vincent hits a big swanton with a steel chair on top of Hardwood before Daniel Garcia finally comes down with a steel chair to make the save as the babyfaces stand tall, but the damage has been done to FTR as they were hurt and battered at the end of this matchup in the post-match here. So really good matchup. I like the Elite with their hired guns, and this did do a good job of kind of putting over the Righteous and Archer as kind of a dominant force in the post-match, at least, despite them taking the loss here. I thought that it was nice that they got a little bit of an attack in after the matchup to get some of their heat back so they could be useful in the future in these type of scenarios. We get here Ace, who says this main event match was fun. I agree. I thought this was a really fun matchup to close out the show, but was it the match of the night? Let me know in the live chat, what was your match of the night? Your MVP, LVP, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10, what did you give AEW Collision before we talk about Rampage? For me, it's a thumbs up show this week for Collision. Not the best show of Collision, not the really good show. You know, Collision as of late over the last couple of months has been giving us, 4-star matches or more. There wasn't any like great matches that I would say is going to be on my matches of the week next week on True Heel Heat. But there was just solid action throughout, some solid storytelling, and most of all, solid build-up for Double or Nothing. So I'm going to give this show a 7 out of 10. My MVP for the show, I'm going to go with Nick Wayne. I thought he looked good against his matchup against Jack Hartwell. His promo was pretty good as well with Christian, and he got the nice little push and build up for his matchup against Swerve on Dynamite. My LVP for the show, that is hard. I mean, there is Jack Hartwell, who pretty much didn't get any offense in at all. But I'm honestly, I gotta give it to Serena Deeb. I just want her to I want AEW to accept the fact that Toni Storm is the babyface. If you had pushed Serena Deeb in a heel role, I think the build-up for their matchup would have a lot more intrigue and interest in it. But unfortunately, here we are. And then match of the night, I'm going to go with Will Ospreay versus Shane Taylor. I thought they had a really good David versus Goliath type battle, and Will Ospreay with that Stormbreaker. Chef's kiss. And I think we got some agreements in the chat. We got Power Driver Finisher. He says Collision, 7 out of 10. He also says the women's segments are relevant. It's the most I can say. Very true. His MVP is Brian Keefe. His LVP is Deeb and Anna Jay. The match had a few rough spots. I agree with you there. And Ace gives MVP to Nick Wayne. Sound off the rest of you. And remember, guys, I can't do this for free. I got my kids waiting. I got my wife waiting. Send a super chat donation. Show some love to me. I'll take a late birthday super chat donation as well. $2. It helps out. It helps out, guys. Just saying. But let's talk about AEW Rampage, baby, that followed AEW Collision. And just to make sure that you knew who was behind the post-match attack against Team AEW at the end of Collision, we get the Elite opening with a pre-taped bumper, wishing us all a great show, and let's go. That's what I want them to do, like that at the end. Thumbs up. But I would say this matchup that kicked off Rampage was probably better than every other matchup that was on Collision, as you had Lee Moriarty going one-on-one with Kyle O'Reilly. Boy, oh boy, these are two technicians to a T on the AEW roster, and did they give us a really good technical wrestling clinic here. We get some mat work early. O'Reilly started working on the arm of Moriarty until Moriarty used a flatliner to send O'Reilly to the middle turnbuckle. After the split screen break, we get O'Reilly fighting out of an armbar, but Moriarty was able to transition that into a choke. O'Reilly escaped and kicked down at Moriarty's head. We get a back suplex into a leg lace. We get some hard strike exchange, some kick exchange, some slaps exchange. Moriarty did a gnarly finger snap into a running boot in the corner for a near fall. He tried for the Border City stretch, but O'Reilly was able to counter with lifting him up out of the Border City stretch into a freaking ridiculous looking regalplex where he lands right on the back of his head. That was great. Both guys exchanged some more kicks and slaps. Moriarty went for a suplex, but O'Reilly was able to counter with a knee to the head. They exchanged some arm bars. O'Reilly locked in a hammerlock into a guillotine, into a body scissors all at once. Moriarty tried to fight out of it, but O'Reilly was able to transition that into a triangle choke. Then Moriarty took out Moriarty's knee. He hits a suplex into the Armageddon to pick up the submission victory here. Boy, oh boy, Kyle O'Reilly was in his bag here, back-to-back weeks, where I would say O'Reilly had the best match on Saturday night. Last week against Adam Copeland, this week against Lee Moriarty. Damn good technical wrestling clinic between these two guys. The mat work, the hard slaps exchange and kicks exchange. This was quality stuff right here. O'Reilly picked up the win, and he will go one-on-one with the number one contender for the TNT Championship, Malachi Black, this Wednesday on Dynamite. Backstage, Lexi Nair speaks with the former AEW World Trio Champions, The Acclaim and Daddy Ass. They interview them. Billy Gunn says that he has a problem with authority, and he has a problem with the Elite kind of using their authority in the wrong way as of late. Meanwhile, the Acclaim is worried about getting back into the tag team division, but for tonight, Anthony Bowens has one-on-one with Brian Cage. They don't like the fact that Brian Cage is working with the Elite and turn his back on Swerve Strickland. So Bowens is going to prove a point here tonight. Roosh was out next as he goes one-on-one with Cody Chun. Chun missed the splash in the corner right away. Then Roosh hits a big forearm. The Bull's horns. That was it. 38 seconds. That was it. Roosh gets the win. After the match, though, Roosh spends some more time just beating the crap out of this poor man. Cody Chun, he takes him to the floor, beats him down all around ringside, and then whoops him and chokes him with an electrical cable. Man, Roosh is violent, and I love it. Give him a feud, though. We need a rivalry for Roosh now that he's back. Lexi Nair is backstage with the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, who informs us that FTR is hurt and that will not make it, have not been medically cleared to compete or to be on Dynamite this Wednesday. But Bryan Danielson says that he is still ready. He will show up on Wednesday on AEW Dynamite. And later on in the show, we would get the answer to what Danielson will be doing on Dynamite this week as Sanjay Dutt. He said that he was looking to collect the bounty on Bryan Danielson. So he has booked a match for Danielson with the 7-foot-tall, 400-pound giant that is Santam Singh. Jesus Christ, we're getting Santam Singh versus Bryan Danielson on Dynamite. We're really going to see if Bryan Danielson is the greatest wrestler of all time. If he's able to have a good match with Santam Singh, there's no debate anymore. I don't want to hear no debate. I don't want to hear your Bret Harts. I don't want to hear your Kenny Omegas. I don't want to hear your Shawn Michaels. Anyone else in WWE, I don't care. Hiroshi Tanahashi, I don't know. Chico Okada. If Bryan Danielson is able to get 3 stars out of Santam Singh, greatest wrestler of all time. We got some more ratings for Collision. We got Frantic World, who gave it a 7 out of 10. We also got Ace, who says LVP was Jack Cartwheel and Serena Deeb. He says his match of the night was Shibata versus Rocky Romero. And he also enjoyed the really good opener for Rampage. And we also got Frantic World, who says Kyle O'Reilly is looking like his old self from ROH. I agree. I definitely agree. And then next up, we had our women's matchup for Rampage. It was Deonna Purrazzo going one-on-one with Robin Renegade. Some good work on the mat early on by Deonna and some nice reversals from Renegade. In the end, though, it was Deonna Purrazzo who is just the more proficient technical wrestler, getting Renegade down with a big pump kick, and then she locked on an armbar for a quick victory here. After the matchup, though, Purrazzo put back on the Venus de Milo armbar onto Renegade until Thunder Rosa ran out to make the save. Rosa tried to check on Renegade when Purrazzo snuck back into the ring for a cheap shot. Purrazzo ran up the ramp, but Rosa did this nice little thing where she was like stalking her, walking real slow as Deonna's like walking backwards real slow. But then she just puts on the boosters and catches up to Deonna, puts her back into the ring, but Deonna gets out and escapes through the crowd. I've been digging the slow burn for this rivalry between Deonna Purrazzo and Thunder Rosa. I'm hoping they at least get on the pre-show, the 0 hour for Double or Nothing, because they deserve a spot on that card. We get another vignette for Scorpio Sky. This one sounded like Sky would be coming back as an insincere babyface. Interesting. We'll see how that further develops in the weeks to come. And then finally, we had our main event of the evening. Brian Cage going one-on-one with Anthony Bowens. You had the big, strong strength of the big, strong boy of Brian Cage using his strength and his power against the more technically proficient and fast Anthony Bowens, and I like the mix of talent here. Anthony Bowens just really good with his counter work and his reversals, and the way he hits his strikes really seem on point. He escaped a pump handle suplex, but Cage was able to hit a discus lariat. He went for the drill claw, but Bowens was able to escape, hitting a rolling forearm, a super kick, and a punt kick for a 2 count. Cage sent Bowens into the corner where he almost collided with the referee. This gave Cage the opportunity to hit a low blow and then followed up with the drill claw to pick up the victory here. I thought the finishing sequence was really well done and really great timing on both guys. Bowens here really showed that his best potential is as a singles performer. I honestly feel like the Acclaimed have reached their point of expiration, and that this was maybe AEW trying out the Anthony Bowens singles experiment. I think that is what the future holds for him. But in the future, I think that out of this matchup, we're going to get the former members of Mogul Embassy, Cage and the Gates of Agony, against the Acclaim at some point, maybe on the 0 hour or next week's Collision. Who knows? We will have to watch and see. But that was all for Rampage this week. And let me know in the live chat your match of the night, MVP, LVP, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10, what did you give Rampage? For me, thumbs up for Rampage as well, and I'm going to give it the similar score that I gave to Collision. It was a 7 out of 10 show. Just solid work, nothing mind-blowing out the way of this one. It was just a kind of a solid show to build up for Dynamite and AEW Double or Nothing this coming Sunday. Match of the night easily was Kyle O'Reilly versus Lee Moriarty. Honestly, I felt like that was even better than Ospreay versus Jane Taylor. The best match of Saturday night was O'Reilly and Moriarty. My MVP for the show, I'm going to give it to Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo. I think they're really building up a very intriguing non-title women's feud, which we don't get too often in AEW. I think the last one that I had this much intrigue and interest in was Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida from nearly 2-3 years ago. So I'm really liking what they're doing so far. LVP for this episode of Rampage, I'm going to give it to Cody Chun, because Roosh just dominated and beat the shit out of you. And yeah, that's it for Rampage for me. We got Eric Isaac who says, please have Rosa versus Deonna at least at the 0 hour pre-show before Double or Nothing for the #1 contender for women's title. I agree. That would be really good if they add that stipulation as well. Frantic World says, yeah, if Bryan Danielson makes that match good, he is the GOAT. Thank you. Thank you. We got some agreements in the chat. We also got Frantic World says we need Thunder Rosa versus Deonna Purrazzo on Double or Nothing. And Ace agrees with me, as well as Frantic World, giving the show a 7 out of 10. And Power Driver Finisher says Santum's match announcement should bring up the ratings. I agree. AEW is going to do over 700,000 this week just for the Santum Singh bump. But that is all for Collision Discourse, guys. I want to thank you guys for joining me, sharing your thoughts in the live chat. I always appreciate the support and always love interacting with you guys when I'm doing these solo reviews. Hopefully, my good brother, Sober Guy JJ, will be back with me in 2 weeks' time when we review Collision once again, because next Monday, we won't be doing Collision Discourse. We will be doing our AEW Double or Nothing review, because it's a huge week here at True Heel Heat, at True Heel Heat Wrestling YouTube channel. You know, you're going to see 7 days of SP3 coming up, because tomorrow we got our Rated Raw review is going to be returning, as we're going to review Monday Night Raw from tonight. We also got on Wednesday our King and Queen of the Ring Premium Live Event preview with myself, Romeo, and we might have a special guest for that. On Thursday, we got AE Ramble, as always, reviewing AEW Dynamite. Friday, we got our AEW Double or Nothing preview. Special guest will be Joe Holbert of Wrestle Purist, as well as Benno of Post Wrestling and the Gravel Podcast. And then Saturday, we got our King and Queen of the Ring watch party. Romeo's going to be hosting that. And then later on, just an hour or two after the show concludes, I will be here for our King and Queen of the Ring review breaking down the show. And then Sunday, we got the change of schedule because WWE has a premium live event on Saturday. We'll be doing the True Heel Heat Flash Hit podcast on Sunday, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. Myself, Miss Chrissy Love, the True Jaw Josh. We might have a special guest for that as well. And then later on in the evening, we got our Double or Nothing watch party. And then we conclude 7 days of SP3 with our Double or Nothing review. So stay locked here. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here, because 7 days of content for you to enjoy. So you better not be stingy like you were during this last 50 minutes, not sending me a super chat. Show us some love. We're trying to end off May in a big way, and we need y'all support to do that. But as always, I appreciate y'all for just simply watching, and y'all can do the simplest thing. Drop the thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about AEW Collision and Rampage from this past week. And check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, like True Heel Heat 277 from this past Saturday, breaking down the latest in wrestling. And with my birthday bash celebration, we also had a great interview with Zach Haydorn, the author of Stunning, the career retrospective of the in-ring work of Stone Cold Steve Austin. If you're an AEW fan, you could check out AE Ramble 146, Darby Anarchy from last Thursday, reviewing AEW Dynamite from last week. And of course, if you want to stay locked and know everything going down with True Heel Heat, follow us, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at True Heel Heat. You can follow me at True Heel SP3, and go over to the True Heel Heat Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel, where we got our X-Men 97 Season 1 finale review. Check it out right now as well. But until tomorrow, for Rated Raw Review, it is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. This has been Collision Discourse, episode 31, for the May 18th, 2024 edition of AEW Collision and Rampage. I am signing off until next time. Later, y'all.